Hey folks, it's Cement once again, and welcome back to another review for my journey into the 1980s. And this time I'm talking about the 1980 film Altered States. In the basement of a medical school, Dr. Jessup floats in total darkness. The most terrifying experiment in the history of science is out of control, and the subject is himself. Always kind of a weak cover and poster because it's just William Hurt upside down. So it's like, and I think this was William Hurt's his film debut. So it's like, okay, a guy who I don't know. I'm talking about if you're looking at this in 1980, a guy who I don't know who's upside down. Is he dead? Is he? Did someone pull a trick on him? Have a rope and he's upside down? I always thought it was a lame cover and poster, which is probably why this film wasn't too big of a hit when it came out. But I really enjoyed the film. Ken Russell, of any stuff I've seen, I'm not a fan of Lair the White Worm, but I do enjoy this flick. It's based on a novel by Paddy Chayefsky, who I think the director, Ken Russell, was one of those shit creeps where he could not change any of the dialogue, otherwise he'd get sued. So a lot of times he'd have people mumbling stuff or saying with energy, and I think Ken Russell did a pretty damn good job actually with what he was working with. I know if you watch my friend Mike OCP Communications video, there's actually more in-depth knowledge about the making of the flick. I I don't know much about the making of it. It'd be interesting. But yeah, this DVD is bare bones. It's a flipper disc. One side's widescreen, one side's full screen. There's 5 trailers and 2 TV spots. And the reason it says 5 trailers, it's one trailer for this film, but then if you go to real recommendations, there's like a trailer for other Warner Brothers flicks. So there's a trailer for Outbreak, and there's a trailer for... Fuck, I forgot what the other 4 movies, but... Or the other 3 movies, but I know one of them is for Outbreak. There's a couple other more... At least at the time, more recent Warner Brothers flicks. But, and then 2 TV spots. But that's all you get. I agree with this. Dynamic special effects, excellent ensemble acting. I think that's what makes the film work. I didn't get bored with it. I thought people may have a problem, understandably so, with it's a very talky, dialogue-driven, scientific, pseudo-scientific, however you want to word it, because the characters are scientists, and William Hurt, who I thought he did a great job in the flick, is Eddie Jessup, looking into this research about states of consciousness. He a lot of times goes to the sensory deprivation tank to hallucinate, and all those are parts of consciousness that could be some type of maybe reality or maybe an alternate reality, or we can use those hallucinations to look back at how we were born, how we were made, the truth, how we were created, all sorts of stuff. And he gets invited to a party and he meets this woman played by Blair Brown. And I thought she did a great job. She was likable. I think she's sexy. She was likable. And at the end, she stood by her man. She wasn't a bitch. She wasn't a I'm like, hey, this is the kind of woman I would love to have stand by me. You know, if I'm in the shit, this is a woman I wouldn't mind, especially in the end when all hell's breaking loose. She could run away like, but no, she's like, I'm gonna crawl through this window. I'm gonna try to get to him. I'm like, and I also think she was a good actress as well. Let's see, Bob Balaban, who is in 2010, and he's been in quite a few other films. He's one of William Hurt's buddies. And at this time, not only is William Hurt doing sensory deprivation tapes and Bob Balaban's on the outside writing notes, he's also working with schizos, especially ones with religious experiences. And right from the get-go, you realize that William Hurt's character, he's all about the head and not much about the heart. And it's not that he's an asshole. It's not that he's mean or rude or cruel. It's just that, like, even in the sex scene, he has sex with Blair Brown. It's less about. It's sort of a weird way where he doesn't look at it like anyone else would. And I mean, how it leads to them talking about William Hurt's dad, how he died, how he stopped believing in God, and all she could say is, "Wow, you're a fascinating bastard," but like in a nice way. But throughout the film, you realize that he has kind of cut himself off emotionally. Um, Makes me think of that song. I want to know what love is. I want you to show me. In a way, that's sort of William Hurt's mind frame. He doesn't say I love you. He'll say other stuff like I don't want to lose you, but he can't really bring himself to say that he loves, because he's too intellectual, he's too obsessed with his research. He's like, what's love? What is this? It's I'll get to that. But he has some hallucinations, especially in the sensory deprivation. And the hallucinations, well done special effects, very trippy. I've never had acid, but I'm sure if I took acid, it would be like some of these hallucinations. Like he hallucinates his dad's death he's on a bed, and there's this bag with like a charcoal or whatever of the face of Jesus on his dad's face, and then there's this seven-eyed beast on a cross, and then, on four legs, and there's this knife and blood and this like teched out Bible looking thing, and just crazy as shit. Definitely like, what the fuck? But interesting as well. And his woman is talking about how, there's no great truths. We persuade others that we're alive. We do that via love. Like, she believes in love. Who cares about the great truth, the here and now? While William Hurt is not like that. That's why throughout the film, he can't really say "I love you," because he cares, but at the same time, he's not worried about this. He's worried about what's out there. So that's why he says, he can't say "I love you," but he says, "I don't want to lose you." But he does care, because he even asks, should I change? And he's very nice about it. She's like, no, I like how kind of nuts you are. And then we jump ahead years later, which can be a little bit disconcerting at first, because it doesn't. I don't remember it saying like 7 years later or like a title card. It kind of like the next scene, all of a sudden they have 2 kids, and then they're on the verge of divorce. It's like, oh, okay, there's a jump. I think one of the kids is actually Drew Barrymore. Now, she has no dialogue, she has no scenes, you just see her in the background, but if you look in the credits, it says, I believe the younger one is Drew Barrymore. So I think this is technically her first film, even though she's not really a character. I mean, she's in the background. But him and his woman are on the rocks, and she and the kids are going off to one place, and he's going to go off to Mexico to look at this drug that these Native Americans have. I do like a line of dialogue that William Hurt says, "Oh, the first self is real and tangible, and I'm going to find the fucker." I like that line. but he gets in Mexico, and this is a well-shot movie. This is a really good-looking film. I mean, like, when William Hurt, his guide, a Native American, enter this cave, you see a silhouette in this white light in the background, and there's just some really good-looking shots in this flick. Ken Russell definitely has an eye for the visuals. This is just a lot of good visually interesting sequences. And there's this ritual, and William Hurt's hand gets cut so blood can be put into this big pot. He tastes his drug. Like, all of a sudden, all these sparklers, kind of like the 4th of July, all these sparklers surround him, falling around him, and these weird hallucinations of like a python snake, and flowers, and stars coming out of his hand, and a lizard, and the creepiest scene to me, I did really think this. I don't know why. I know it sounds stupid. If anyone watches it, they'd be like, "What the fuck? Why, Matt?" But this just creeped me out. This scene, this one part, I should say, of the scene. This one part where he sees his woman naked. That's not the part that creeps me out. It's sand starts blowing everywhere and covers her face. And then it covers so much that they're all covered in sand. Then it keeps going, and it's like they're sand statues. And this goes on for a little bit of time, where it cuts between his woman and William Hurt. And as time goes on, and it keeps cutting back, there's less and less features. It's like, there's the eyes, then it cuts back and the eyes are disappeared, then they're getting smaller, and there's less form, and getting smaller and less form. So I don't know if it's just it really is a visual of that idea of you're really wasting away, that you could be like this, and all of a sudden you just form into nothing. And it's not like a quick or a shitty CGI effect or anything. It's just sort of that gradual, like these two people, these characters I like, and you see them, I mean, it's a hallucination, but like slowly morph just from editing. Less sand, less form, until they're just a hunk of sand. I don't know why, but I'm watching like, I don't know why. It was the weirdest thing. But it's like, just pile of nothing. Just fucking shit in my hand. But, and he also had visions of hell. From what I understand, they used some footage from a 30s film called Dante's Inferno. Just as, which makes it more peculiar. I know I could barely say that word right, but just this like lava and people falling into it, and just a weird version. I mean, and the sun became black, and then you have this land of crosses, as if I'm watching Pink Floyd's The Wall, which came out after this actually. But it just, the hallucinations do their job, and the special effects worker, the hallucination is supposed to be fucked up, and that's what they do. And this, what the hell's gonna happen next? What's the next one gonna be like? What's the next one gonna be like? He takes the drug back once again in the isolation tank, and there's this guy. What was his name? Who's kind of associate of Bob Balaban and William Hurt, and he works with them, and I believe it's Charles Hayde. I believe that's his name. And he's much more of a rougher guy, like, you guys are full of shit type of guy. What the hell are you guys doing? You guys full of shit, but he's still going along with them. And I liked him just for trying to call these people out on their shit. And real quickly, if you're wondering, it did get some good reviews, but it had 2 Academy Award nominations for Best Sound and Best Score. The score fit the film. Yeah, I can see this is part of the body horror genre. It's one of those things that you can see like someone like David Cronenberg making a film like this. I mean, I would say The Fly is a much better in the emotional story of it. I mean, I think though that the majority of people would say that David Cronenberg's The Fly is a better movie. And thankfully, at least The Fly gets recognition. But this one is forgotten. This is kind of a forgotten film. And yeah, again, if I picked, I would pick The Fly. Everybody would, let's be honest. But I don't think this is a bad movie either. And again, it's sort of a forgotten film. No one talks about this movie. And if they do, they kind of laugh at it because it's a 1980 film and what the fuck, and it's just trying to be weird. But I just still thought it was an interesting story he was trying to tell. I thought the cast worked well. The score fit the film. The visuals are definitely doing their job. They put him in the isolation tank, or he puts himself in it, and the isolation tank at this point looks like a little mini bunker. And he's talking about how he sees primitive men, and the other guy's like, what the hell's going on here? Again, the rough and tumble guy. They get him out, and there's blood around his mouth. And you're like, what the hell? And they take x-rays of William Hurt's neck, and actually the guy doing the x-rays is John Larroquette. I'm like, oh shit, this is John Larroquette. I didn't know he was in this movie. It's the x-ray guy. And then this one other guy, when they take that x-ray to, just the way he said this line, this guy's a fucking gorilla. Pretty much showing that his hallucinations are now becoming physical. He's changing physically. And like he's sleeping, and these really good practical effects. His bulges on his arm, like his arm's about to break, but it's like something's about like bulging up and down, and even his stomach doing like an up and down wave, like pulsing out, and good practical effects. I miss that stuff. You rarely see that stuff because it'd be a shitty CGI effect. But this is 1980, and I think that shit looks great to this day. And like he's trying to, he's trying to cool himself down in the shower, and he looks down, and for a split second he sees that his feet are like primitive ape feet. And then he sort of freaking out, looks down, and they're normal again. And he's having hallucinations even when he's awake, when he's not in isolation tank, when he hasn't taken the drugs. And then one thing leads to another, and he goes in by himself, and he turns to a simian man. Turns into like a horror version of Encino Man. He gets out, he attacks 2 guys, he gets into a zoo. They're going around the animals. He kills one and eats it. And before and after these scenes, Blair Brown gets to him. It's like, what the hell's going on? Why is this happening? He's so obsessed with this. Now, this is one logic of the movie that was a hurdle for me to get through. So I really do enjoy the film. I bought the love story between these 2 people. I love the effects. I thought the score worked well. The story was interesting. And not the usual story that's told, but that's what I liked for it. But this hurdle of logic really is my one big problem with the film. I mean, if I had another problem, a lot of times the dialogue gets a bit too scientific, pseudoscientific, that some people are like, okay, can you ease down? You know, you're getting to remind me of the Kentucky Fried guy and Matrix Reloaded. You know, the current KFC Colonel. What the fuck his name was. I love Matrix Reloaded, but that's one scene that I hated because it's just boring. It's like, get the KFC guy out of there. Let him go back to making chicken. But this hurdle logic where after all this happened, two guys get attacked. I don't even know if they're dead. I'm assuming they're not dead. I'm assuming it. But at least they got hurt. He's found naked in the zoo. An animal has been eaten and dead. He's put in jail. He gets out. And immediately he's going to continue the experiment. And others are kind of going along with it. Like Blair Brown, Bob Balaban, and the other guy are watching him in the tank. I'm like, why is this happening? I mean, I know you guys are starting to believe like he's physically turning, but this is just stupid. You just found him naked, bare ass and all, to the world in a zoo. Two people got attacked by a ape, and or as they think it's an ape. That's what they tell Blair Brown and other scientists. And you guys are going along with it. That's a hurdle logic. I'm like, what the fuck? What does it take? Kind of a stupid logic. I mean, it's stupid. Like, really? I don't buy it. So that's one part of the writing that I think is weak. I'm like, come on, I don't buy this shit. And the fact that you guys are going along with it is bullshit. But okay. So that's one strike I have against the film. But the stuff after it I do enjoy. Then watching the video feed, and the video feed starts changing. And you see that William Hurt's face is pulsing out and bubbling out. And then you see like flashes of energy. And the one guy goes in to open up the tank. There's this white light, blinding light, and energy going around. Like the pipes are breaking and wind blowing people back. And Bob Balaban doesn't know what the hell's going on. It looks like he just passes out, or and the girl, Blair Brown, she doesn't run away. She doesn't abandon the guy she loves. Even though they're going through this trouble and maybe getting a divorce, she still loves them. And, even though all this pulsing, and she looks through, and the tank, it's just a visually interesting scene. Like, she looks at the tank, and you can see through it. And you see this white light pulsing like a heart, this energy. And then when she goes in, it's all gone. Like the whole bunker little tank thing is gone. It's just this swirl of a... Actually, it's this. Well, no, that's not the scene. But it's like a dust vortex swirl. And she's still going in, not which, hey, that's the kind of woman I want. And then you see what William Hurt's seeing is this batshit crazy images. I don't know how to describe it. It's like going back to the ends of time. Kind of taking a page from 2001: A Space Odyssey and the finale of that. That's the best way I could compare it to. And she's able to grab him where he's like at his basest form of energy and pull him out. And of course, Bob Balaban and the other guy are kind of like, what are we going to do about this information? We should forget. No, we don't forget. Look what happened. And they leave. And this is when they're back home. And William Hurt, he's like finally getting it. He's finally like, that was the ultimate terror, the beginning of life. Because there was nothing. He is nothing. And it's like him realizing that human life here is what's real. Is what matters. But he's not there 100%. Because he's still changing. And again, this is a woman that I want. Instead of running away, she's like, defy it. And she runs to him, they touch, and she gets transformed into that sort of lava, veiny, red energy. And he's turning. And I don't know, I got sucked into this because it wasn't downbeat, and it wasn't... It's like William Hurt's looking at his woman who's now in pain, and he's going to fight it. He's pounding on the ground, he's pounding on the wall, he's pounding the wall. Kind of like, fuck you, He doesn't say that, but in his head you can just see, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And he's pounding, and each time he pounds, a part of him changes, he's fighting it, and at times he's pounding, now he's looking normal, and then he's this mass, and he's pounding back and forth, fuck you, and then he gets back, and he was crawling to his woman, grabs her, and then they both disappear into this energy, and then reappear, and they're both bare-ass naked, and finally, he says, after all of this time, I love you. He actually says those words. And like, finally, he realizes that all that shit doesn't matter. The truth doesn't matter. What matters is, hey, this woman tried to fight for me. This woman loves my ass. And I love her. Some people think that's sappy. But you know, kind of like Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. You know, love conquers all. But maybe I'm a sentimental guy. Maybe that's something that we all want to believe. And what's wrong with wanting to believe in that? So I'll take it. And I like these two actors in the film. And I like the way that was done. Like physically like fighting himself and then getting to his woman and finally admitting to her that to say those words that he could never say before, I love you. And then the movie ends. And that's part of the reason. I like the love story aspect. I like the two leads. Story fit the film. The visuals are definitely trippy hallucinations and fun special effects to watch. You're not going as for action. I would call it a science fiction movie. It's not really a horror movie. But some people consider it horror, but I would call it science fiction more than horror. Trippy. And I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the flick. The whole idea of looking to the consciousness, the beginning of time, big ideas, and the film was trying to do big ideas, but it's not like a boring, I don't think it's a boring film. A boring film is two people just talking about it, writing notes and talking about it. At least here there's some nice visuals and cool trippy-ass hallucinations, and you do get your nudity and tits, and you get special effects finale. Yeah, I really enjoyed Altered States. Other than that, again, the dialogue at times get pretty heavy and scientific talk, mumbo jumbo, and that one hurdle of logic, I'm like, really? But other than that, I did really enjoy the film. I liked the film a lot. Altered States. At least the recent films I've seen so far in this journey to the 1980s is definitely this and Alligator are my favorites so far, because Agency sucked. Alligator 2 sucked. What was the other fucking movie? Alien 2 and Alien Dead sucked. So it's not much to compare it to, but the next one's Anthropophagus, which I don't fucking want to watch, so maybe I'll skip it. I don't know. But again, Altered States, love it. I would say underrated because no one talks about the movie. It's a bare bones DVD. I mean, it has a trailer and TV spots, but it's still bare bones. And yeah, I enjoy the film. I like it. So thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.